your flesh and blood.
Welcome to Tell Me Your Story with Dennis Henson. This is a brand new series we hope that you will enjoy, and it's called Body of Health. Dennis, welcome, and let us start out by telling people about, I guess best way to put it is our disclaimer.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you so much for having me on this series. I'm really excited about doing this, but I think it's very important that everyone understand that neither of us are medical doctors or have any kind of medical training. We are just people who are very interested in health and being able to get better faster, so that if you have some problem, that gives you a place to go to find things that have worked for other people that may help you, or they may not, but there'll be something worthwhile checking out.
Body of Health is going to be here every week. The website that we're going to suggest you go to for information, number one website is dennisjhenson.com, which we will have in the audio and video podcast videocast. But there's also a Facebook location, and basically it's facebook.com/groups/body of health. Once again, facebook.com/groups, that's plural, groups/body of health. We hope that you will go there to check out the information that Dennis has provided with us. And with that, we move into Body of Health. This is a Tell Me Your Story series here on the program, where we are here to help you. We're not doing anything other than giving you information to help you to improve the quality of your life. I'm Reverend Dr. D. He is Dennis Henson. He is the author of the Real Impact Daily Inspiration Series. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the program. But Dennis, welcome back. And this is part 3. This is, I think, the first time in this series that we've actually had so much information that we needed to go to 3 parts for this particular conversation about combating cancer. Welcome back.
Thank you, Richard. I really appreciate you having me. I look forward to these programs every week. And before we get started, let's go ahead and make the point that neither of us are doctors.
That's right.
Not in medical training, but what we're sharing with you is some of the research that we've done on our own. And we highly suggest that you take what we give you and do further research so that, you become even healthier.
Absolutely. And that's really what it's about. I mean, you and I, we've done a program on longevity and, of course, the fountain of youth, so to speak. And as a matter of fact, I think our very first program was just about that, the fountain of youth drink,
Yes.
Which is really very good. So this is part 3 of this particular series. And let's jump right in where we left off in part 2.
Okay, we'll start with number 10 on the list. If you didn't get the first programs, they're posted on our website, bodyofhealth.life. You can just click there, or you can go to dennisjhenson.com and click on health. And all of the programs that we've done, there are articles that highlight everything that we say. So this first one is kind of boring. I think of all the ones we've talked about, this one is probably the most boring, but it doesn't matter that it's boring. What matters is it going to help you combat cancer? That's the key. And what it is to ingest folate for DNA protection. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's easy. You can just eat leafy greens every day. My wife always prepares my lunch and dinner with a nice salad with some spinach or something that's green inside there, and it's enjoyable to eat, and it gives you the folate you need if you can eat that every day. Another thing is beef liver, which I cannot stand. That would be something that I would choose. But now if you're traveling or you're just not able to get that, the the other option would be folic acid. Now, you can get the folic acid on our website. In fact, everything that we mention here, if you go to bodyofhealth.life, is available there at a reasonable price, very high quality. So that might be something that you want to check out.
Absolutely. And we encourage folks to go there as well as the other website to become a member of sorts, we'll call it that, but join the growing number of people who are wanting to do the same thing that you and I are wanting to do, and that is live longer, but not just longer, live longer and live healthier. Because it's no fun. I mean, we've all experienced those different illnesses and diseases over the course of our lives where we can't do anything. I've even worked myself so hard, Dennis, where I worked straight for, I think it was for 7, 8 days straight, not 24/7 necessarily, but it was where I didn't take a break. I mean, I worked the 8 hours, I'd go home and so forth, and I just did this day after day after day. And finally, my body said, "That's it. We're shutting down. You aren't doing anything more. We have got to recover." Well, that's kind of what we're talking about here when it comes to some of these things that we believe, based upon our own personal experiences that Dennis has researched, that will help you and I to live a healthier life and hopefully longer as well. So, let's take a look at other areas too. You can find, of course, again, we'll just to remind you, DennisJHenson.com is that website where you can find all the information that you were just mentioning, Dennis, but also through that portal and the health tab, you folks can join the Body of Health group on Facebook. There's a link that takes you there. And if you go ahead and scroll down on the Dennis J. Henson /health tab, then you will find all of the information that we've been providing over the last 2, 3 months, actually 4 months, come to think of it, that we've been providing. So please, folks, do avail yourselves of this. So let's move on to our next element here and find out about how to, in addition, reading daily inspiration, real impact daily inspiration, which I think is a very positive thing to do. What are some of the other positive things we can do for living a positive life that will help combat cancer?
Well, the next one is probably my favorite of all. It's it's what you just said, living a positive life. If you're negative all the time and you worry all the time, that causes stress, and stress causes cancer. So if you can eliminate the stress, the chances of you having cancer, or if you have it, reducing it, are much higher. So I think of it like this: think like Peter Pan.
Mm.
Think wonderful thoughts. That's, if you've watched the play or the movie Peter
Mm-hmm.
Pan, the way Peter Pan flew was thinking wonderful thoughts, and then he could take flight, which I think is a great allegory
Oh,
or
absolutely,
way
absolutely.
to explain how life is. So how do you do that? Well, make new friends, increase your love cycle. You're going to live longer and be more healthy if you're more social. If you have friends that you can talk to and relate to, talk on the phone with. I enjoy this meeting that we have every week, where we talk. We talk after, we talk before, and during the week we talk. So it's, that's another friend. The more friends that you can have, that you can
Mhm.
relate to and talk to, the longer and happier your life is going to be. Another thing you can do to do this is smile. Smile at everybody you meet. Make their
Mhm.
day, and make your day. You'll feel better if you can make them smile.
Yeah,
Another one's not quite so easy, and that is be forgiving. Forgive everybody for everything and love everybody. Don't hate
mm,
anyone for any reason. Not for something they've done to you, not for politics. Try to change your attitude and your thinking from spite and hate and envy to just love and
Mm.
thinking positive things. And if you can't, just don't think about them at all.
Mhm.
Just think about something else. Change your mindset.
Exactly. Dennis, there's a passage from the New Testament that speaks to this very thing. It says, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you."
Right.
Well, again, that is, of course, that is all a matter of perspective, to be honest with you. For example, if you don't have any enemies, all right, under that particular direction, there's nobody that you have to, there's no enemy that you have to love because you don't have any enemies. And the
Right.
same goes for feeling persecuted. If you feel persecuted, all right, then pray for those who you think are persecuting you. But from my perspective, feeling persecuted is along the lines of someone walking onto the railroad tracks, and there's an oncoming train. And it's like, well, you have a choice. You can stand there and get persecuted, all right, or you can step off of the rails and avoid the persecution. Now, I know everybody's going to have their own perspectives on this. I get that. But it is all about, even what I talk about in my book, choices. These elements that you're talking about, in terms of making new friends and smiling at everyone and so forth, and then this forgiving, not hating. All of these things are choices. It's not something that's hardwired. And I think that's something to sort of really emphasize here. And I know that, and I used this example with my brother in our conversation a few years back, where we're on different ends or sides, if you will, of the political spectrum, and yet this man is my brother. Always will be. I will always love him, not because he's my enemy, but because he's my brother. And I'm proud of him for what he's accomplished in his life. And for that matter, in our conversation at the end, there were three things that we agreed upon. Well, now, if you're at different ends of something, how in the world can you even come up with one, let alone three things you agree on? Well, guess what? We did. And I'm proud of both of us for having done that and having that conversation because we learned a little bit about each other. So when you are thinking about, and we still have more to follow here, but again, this all still comes back to choice, choosing to make new friends, choosing to smile. By the way, I don't just smile at people like when my wife and I are walking through the grocery store. I'll either, because I'm usually wearing my hat, I'll usually tip my head in a gesture of "Hi there, how you doing?" Or I'll do the little tip of the hat kind of thing, like you see in the old westerns when they do that when they walk across women on the way. And it does. It makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it?
It does. My wife and I go to dances. We met at a ballroom dance and enjoy dancing, and we have lots of friends that are dancers. And one of our friends was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And his doctor said, "There's really nothing that I can do for you, but what you should do is watch funny movies and laugh as much as you possibly can." And he took that,
Mm-hmm.
and his cancer started to recede. Isn't that amazing?
Uh, it,
Just
yeah,
laughter,
yeah.
just watching movies, reading funny jokes, uh, doing, positive things so that you feel good every day and let your body not be fighting the stress, but give it the opportunity to fight the things that are going bad inside it.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't there a philosopher in the last century who was diagnosed and basically said no, and he was doing that very thing, watching funny movies, and then I think they gave him like 6 months, and he went on to live years.
well, yeah, I don't think that's unusual. My cousin was diagnosed, they gave her 6 months to live. this has been like 14 years ago. So, so she just, overcame it, just refused to let it take her life.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing you can do is read positive things. You can use the book Real Impact Daily Inspiration to form the habit of reading something positive every day, which is very, very good for you. Go to dances, do things that are fun. If you like to play tennis, go play tennis or play golf or do things that you enjoy. Find, I like to walk my dog.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put on my earphones and put on my shorts, and Cooper and I just take off. We live near a lake. We take off, go down to the lake. We walk around the neighborhoods, and people know who we are. Everybody loves my dog because he's really cute, and he helps me make good friends.
Yeah.
So another thing you can do is make a list. Gratitude is, I think, probably the best healer of all. If you're just
Mm.
grateful for your life and for everything that's going on in your life, uh, make a list of all the things you're grateful for. Sit down and write down 20 things you're grateful for and read them every day and also add to the list. So if you do that every day, it will change your mindset, because instead of thinking of all the bad things that could happen or you think that are happening, or the turmoil in your life, turn that into being grateful for your life and for the things in your life, and it'll have a tremendous impact on your health. And this next one, hug your loved ones. You know, I know you and I both, we love our wives, so
Mm-hmm.
hug your loved ones for 20 seconds every day. Just make it a point to find the time to get with them and hold them close. Let them know that you love them and that you feel that they love you. Um, Pet your dog and cat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I go home and if I give my dog a treat, he gets up in my lap. Otherwise, he's with Norma. He loves Norma. He worships Norma, but I have to bribe him to sit in my lap. So I have a little box of treats, and I'll pick it up and shake it, and he'll come and sit down in my lap, and I'll make him sit there for a while, just just to earn a treat, so that I get to pet him. So if you have a dog or a cat that you love, spend some time with them,
Yep.
and make sure that the things that you watch or read are positive rather than negative. If you
Mm.
go home every night or during lunch or whatever, and you pick up the newspaper and you just read all of these things, the newspapers know that negative things sell. And so the news programs on the TV, they're not going to, there's not going to be, since Paul Harvey, there's not going to be
Yeah.
a newscast that tells you all the positive things that are happening in the world. You're not going to find that, because it just doesn't sell, no commercials for that. So they're going to tell you all of the wars that are happening and the people that got hurt and got kidnapped, and that how bad the government is and all of this stuff. Don't listen to that stuff. I mean, you can't change it. So,
Yeah.
if you want to change it, just go vote. Otherwise, you don't let it affect your life.
Yeah.
You can literally see people's health deteriorating in front of your face because of the bitterness that they have.
Yeah.
And
As a prime example, you're walking through the mall and you see some of these elderly folks and they look like question marks. Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. Um, some people do have issues medically, okay, that cause the question mark. But 9 times out of 10, that question mark condition is because they've been carrying those kinds of burdens. They haven't been practicing gratitude and forgiveness and thankfulness and maybe hugging their loved ones and so forth. And I'll tell you, Dennis, I love, I've been talking with a good friend of mine who, after his dogs passed away a few years back, he was offered to adopt a couple of elderly dogs. And he's had them for, I think, a couple of years now. And one of them has since passed. and he was sharing with me about the conditions of the dog that's left. And I said, I know we've been through it many, many times, but I do have to tell you one very important factor. And you know this too, Dennis, and that is this, that as hard as the end is, that's the price of admission.
That's right.
So look at the totality of the life that you have had with that animal, since that's what we're speaking about. We have three cats, and one of them gets a little jealous over one of the others. The male gets a little jealous over the female when I'm showing her that affection that she wants from me. I mean, I don't know how she became my cat, but now it's like, okay, go ahead and continue to show the female the love and attention that she so richly deserves and wants, and make sure that you reciprocate with the male, because you don't want him to start doing stuff around the house you don't want him to do, like leaving little gifts for you in the corner or in your shoe and those types, because they will. So when we love them, it does a world of difference for them as well as us. So it's great stuff. Hey, we're going to take a little pause here. Remind you that you're listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story. This is the Body of Health series, part 3 of our Combating Cancer series, as we continue here with Dennis Henson and yours truly, Reverend Dr. D. Reverend Dr. D, Dennis Henson, and the Body of Health. Bodyofhealth.life is the website you want to go to check out some of the things that we'll be talking about here in just a little bit in regards to helping you to have a better quality of life and helping to minimize what I've learned over the years is the potentiality. It just means there is the possibility, doesn't mean it's going to happen. And maybe there are things that you can do that we're suggesting from our observations, experiences, and Dennis research that will help to minimize the possibility or probability that you might get some form of cancer. But also want you to go to DennisJHenson.com. I know this is a lot of information, which can be found at DennisJHenson.com/health. It's the health tab up there at the top of the page over on the right-hand side. Scroll down on the health page. You can either go to Facebook and join the Body of Health group. There's a link that'll take you right there, and you can join and follow and have a little conversation, a little chat with people who are members, because we're all going through the same things. We're all human beings. At least I like to think that we're all human beings. And we're all kind of facing a lot of the same challenges from a health standpoint, and we can help one another. There are certain things that we might mention here that may work for some. It may not work for others, which is why we keep saying, first of all, we're not doctors. Ergo, you need to check with your healthcare professional, to make sure that you're doing yourself good and not harm. Because Dennis, you and I both know as well as anybody else that sometimes there are certain things, even in moderation, that our bodies can't really cope real well with. I remember when I had used to have heartburn, and I finally figured out what it was. It was pork spare ribs. Oh my gosh, I love them. But I also love not having heartburn. Okay. So and I haven't had them in a long time. I'm seriously considering testing the body to see if I still have that problem. Then again, maybe I ate them too late at night. This is another thing we've talked about in terms of this acid reflux and so forth, where if you're eating too late at night and then you go lay down, well, guess what your stomach is doing? It's churning around those acids, but you're laying horizontally. Guess what? The esophagus is now sort of an open exit place for those types of things. And so anyway, we just encourage you to do that and check with your healthcare professional. All right, Dennis, what is next on the hit parade when it comes to combating cancer?
Well, the next one may be a little controversial, but my research has convinced me that it will help combat cancer, and that is to search out and destroy parasites. Now,
Mm-hmm.
probably everybody listening in is thinking, well, I don't have any parasites. Well, you may be surprised, because if you have an animal, or if you do grounding barefooted, or if you eat certain foods, you're going to have parasites. In fact, it's more likely that you do than not. So these parasites are not in it for you. they're, they're in it for themselves, and that's not necessarily healthy for you.
Right.
So, what are you going to do? Well, there are things that you can do to eliminate the parasites. One of those, like I say, this is controversial. Both of these are controversial. One of them would be things like ivermectin or vitamin B17, which is apricot pits.
Mm.
So uh, you talk with your doctor. If you talk with your doctor, a lot of medical doctors are going to say, well, now you don't want to do that because they contain cyanide and can kill you. I had a friend who was in pretty bad health, but this was back in the 80s. And he just swore by apricot pits. I mean, he just ate them by the handsful, and he gave me a handful of them, and he said, "You just got to try this." So I went home. I thought, well, one probably won't kill me, so I bit down on it. And before I swallowed it, I don't know if you've ever taken niacin. In about 5 minutes, your head feels like it's on fire.
Hmm.
I mean, it creates this. It opens all the pores up in your body, and you feel like you're burning up. Well, this is 100 times worse. And it doesn't take 5 minutes. I mean, you bite down on one of those, and all of a sudden your whole body just goes into, and it probably does kill cancer. Because it really puts all of your cells into a condition of panic.
Yeah.
But it's something here. I want you to do the research.
Hmm.
The research that I've done, if I thought I was going to have cancer, the last thing I would do is let somebody do chemotherapy. I mean, I already told my wife, if that's the case, let me die. I don't want to go through that. It costs too much, and it's too painful.
Yeah.
But if taking a handful of seeds might help, that's what I'm going to do. But now, again, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to do your own research, and
That's
I'm
right.
telling you to talk with your doctor, who may well tell you that's not a good thing to do. But you're going to be much more healthy if you can remove the parasites. And here's some ways to do it that are not controversial.
Yeah. Well, I will
Or,
tell you, I have a minor connection to apricot seeds. I was working for a station back in Phoenix in the mid '80s. I was there for 15 years, and there was a program on the station hosted by a chiropractor. And of course, each one of these new alternative health practices, like chiropractic, takes forever to get into the mainstream, which of course it is today. But back then, not so much. And this guy, he was very much into health. One day we were chatting away and he was doing his show, and the next day he didn't show up for his program. And it turned out that he had gotten arrested for bringing across the border, at that time, across the border, the equivalent thereof of apricot seeds,
right,
because of the formula that they were in, and that, of course, here in the United States at that time, they were not legal. Um, and I just thought that, and he knew what he was doing. He knew
right,
exactly what he was doing because he was trying to help people. So he was willing to take that step and be responsible for what the outcome was. I don't know what ever happened to him. I have to look him up. I have to do a Google search, see if he's still around and what have you. But we had a rather humorous exchange on the air once where he was talking on the air. And of course, I didn't have my mic open or anything. I just was waving through the glass at him. And he's talking about all of the good foods you should be eating and so on and so forth. And of course, back then I was drinking lots of sodas, and my favorite candy bar was a Snickers. So I grabbed my Snickers bar and I held it up to the glass. And I said, this is whole, this is good food, you know. And then of course on there says, no, Richard, no, that is not good food. You want to stay, you know, that's. But he was very good humored about it, and he was just a really nice guy, just trying to help, just like we are. We're just trying to help to facilitate your better health, our better health. Because I know, Dennis, many of the things that you share with us here, you have put into practice in your own life. Am I correct?
Oh, pretty much all of them. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, I'll tell you if I don't. Before we leave this, there are some ways that are not so controversial. Black walnut hulls will work, and you can get those from health stores. Also, cloves and wormwood. Now, if you're going to do the B17, you need to take zinc with it because zinc will multiply its value a number of times. So instead of having to take 10 of the apricot seed, you just take one or two and some zinc, and you get the same effect as if you had taken 10. And if you do a little research, you'll find that one or two of these are not going to hurt you. But again, do your own research.
Yeah. And again, you can find these and other supplements at bodyofhealth.life. That's bodyofhealth.life. We hope that you will check out all that he has available there, including this wonderful mushroom-based coffee that I happen to have, and we're both drinking it here on the program today. And it's, what is it, Clarity? Is that right?
Morning clarity.
Morning Clarity.
We have a whole section that we're putting together so that you can buy them in a bundle. So it's Morning Clarity, a Morning Clarity Sweet Companion, and Morning Clarity Creamy Companion.
Oh.
So you can get the mushroom coffee, the sweetener, and the creamer that are all super healthy.
Yeah.
You know, they're not dairy based. There's no sugar. And it just tastes so good. I'm so addicted to it. I heard you mention it this morning. I can't wait to get to the office, literally, to get the coffee because it makes me feel so good and clears my mind. And it's just really wonderful.
Yeah.
Hope everybody will give it a try.
And granted, if you missed a day or two just for whatever reasons, you're not going to wind up with the shakes or the DTs or some other withdrawals. No, 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 no. It's not that kind of addiction, if you will. It's a pleasant one where you can take it or leave it, but you'd rather take it. And I think about it at night sometimes when I lay my head down going, oh, I can hardly wait till morning, go up there, make my pot of coffee and mix up my cup. I'll have 3 cups every morning because that's what my pot makes.
My
And
goodness.
that's it. And that's it. Well, it's not it for us here on Body of Health because we've got more to come. A reminder real quickly, go to bodyofhealth.life to pick up and look at many of the things that Dennis has shared with us here on the program, and dennisjhenson.com. And we'll continue with that as we continue Body of Health here on Tell Me Your Story. It's a better way of life. It's a higher quality of life. And that has to do with taking care of yourself, your health and well-being. And we're going to continue talking about how to combat cancer here on the program with Dennis J. Henson. DennisJHenson.com is the website. I'll remind you again about bodyofhealth.life as well. So, Dennis, there is a lot more. Now what's interesting is it's only just because this is the way it's numbered. Number 13, what are we looking at there? And this is, I like to say, it's not an unlucky number. It's a lucky number.
Right. Well, number 13 is practice mitochondrial support, which gives oxygen and energy to your cells. The benefits are it blocks cancer and it boosts longevity. In other words, it helps you live longer. I think that sounds pretty good. So how do you do this? Well, it's really easy. Magnesium glycinate is one of the 4 kinds of magnesium. Now, It is one of the four that's not a laxative. It's the only one of the four that's not. So you can take as much of it as you want to, and you don't have to worry about the laxative part. Some people will not take magnesium because they, they fear that part, but there's no fear in this one. And it helps you sleep. That's a real benefit, because if you don't get good sleep, chances of you getting cancer increases. Another thing is NAD. That's a supplement that you can take, and methylene blue. Now, of the three, I think the first two are the most powerful, the magnesium and the NAD. And they're available on the website. They're available at your health food shop. It doesn't matter with me where you get these things. The reason we're doing this, not to sell product, it's to help people live longer and a healthier life. And so if you can find these things so that they're nearby and easy to get, or they're a place that you visit often, or if you just want to come to my website where I've made it really easy, bodyofhealth.life. If you haven't been there lately, it's changing every day. It's such a beautiful site, and the branding is it's just wonderful. And we're moving toward putting bundles together for everything: morning clarity, for sleeping, for digestive health, all of these bundles, so we can put the things that you need together for each of the things in your life, and you can buy them in a bundle and save a fortune. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, it's any time we are able to find something that supports what we're wanting to accomplish and achieve. And in this day and age, it can kind of be difficult to do, just because not everybody's on the same page, and not everybody has the same goals. But I know that, like you and I, Dennis, we have the same goal when it comes to our health and well-being. And I'm still, of course, monitoring both the HP and HB, as far as, not necessarily on a daily basis, but I'm keeping track of all of that, as well as how I feel. But it's funny, Dennis, how we talked earlier about some of the things we can do, and it's like sometimes I will feel really, really good. And of course, this goes back to one of the things we already talked about. But for some reason in my head, it's just not clicking. It's like, why isn't the good feeling I have in my physical body, why isn't it translated up into my head in terms of my thoughts and emotions? And well, that's where some of these other techniques come in, especially going to realimpactbook.com. I want to talk just very briefly about that. Please go there. You can get yourself a copy, your own copy, holding it in your hand, or get the Audible or Kindle version of Real Impact Daily Inspiration by going to realimpactbook.com and ordering yours. There are ways that you can get it at no cost by, number one, Audible version. Look for the lamp that is missing from the cover of the book, but it's not just on the homepage of realimpactbook.com. You got to go through all of the links, and when you find it, you send Dennis an email, and you will get yourself a free Audible version. If you have unlimited Kindle, you have access to the free version of the Real Impact Daily Inspiration. Book one is what we'll call it. And Dennis, you've also opened yourself up to allowing people to contact you. Not only do you have your email address there, you even have your phone number, because you want to hear from people if they have questions or comments or concerns, whether it's about Real Impact or whether it's about body of health, right?
Exactly. Yes, I welcome people's contact. Anxious to help anybody any way I can, answer any questions that they may have. And I sincerely believe that one of the things that's going to lead to better health is forming the habit of reading something positive every day. And it keeps your mind moving in a positive direction, which is one of the keys to good health and longevity.
Absolutely. This is the Body of Health here on Tell Me Your Story. I am Reverend Dr. D. He is Dennis Henson, and we will continue our conversation about combating cancer. This is Tell Me Your Story, Body of Health. Dennis, let's jump into 14. We are going to kind of go through these a little more quickly, but just a reminder that you can get all of the information for the rest of what we're going to talk about at the dennisjhenson.com/health. Click that health tab on the homepage, and you will find all of the information for all 14, 15, or 16 of these ways of combating health. This is a big one for a lot of folks, and that's fiber.
Right. I just read or heard something over the last week or so where they did a large study and they found out that people, the more fiber intake that you have, the longer you live. Isn't that amazing? And
Mm,
that's so easy, you know. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that you eat foods that are high fiber. What would that be? Well, chia seeds. And I don't know, I didn't even know what chia seeds were to one of my friends told me about them a few years ago. But you can make it like a little gelatin dessert out of them. There's all kinds of ways. There's if you go to our websites, we've been pushing. There are recipes there for things like that,
yeah.
and cruciferous vegetables. Now, if you don't know what that is, look it up and add those two.
Yeah.
But the best one and my favorite one is healthy popcorn. You just make
Mm,
sure that it's popped with healthy oils and it's not been genetically modified. And you can eat as much of it as you want, and it's pretty much all fiber.
mm,
and I and if you use Celtic salt with it, it's even better. And if you have a stroke in your if you're in your family or you've had a stroke or your doctor says you may have one coming up, put a little cayenne pepper on your popcorn. It's amazing what that will do to open up your arteries and veins and prevent a stroke. So that one to me is a lot of fun because I love eating popcorn, and so does Cooper, my dog.
Well, I'll
Just
tell you, it.
don't give your dog the popcorn with the salt on it.
No, 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 no. You don't want to do that. That salt's not good for the dog any more than chocolate is. And our last item, or at least one of our last items, has to do with toxic defense. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, you want to increase your intake of sulforaphane, and you want to filter your water and take colostrum. So the benefits are that it flushes out your liver, it seals your gut, and it removes heavy metals, which is very important. So how do you do this? It's easy. You eat broccoli sprouts. I mean, not the full broccoli, but the little tiny broccolis. You can put them in your salad or whatever. They're very, very powerful and very good for you. And make sure that your water that you're drinking is filtered. Just get a water filter. Get a good quality water filter because a lot of the city water is really, really not good for your health. So that one's an easy one to do, and it will have a tremendous impact on your health.
Absolutely. And of course, I know that we talked about 15 of them, but there is a 16th one, the last but not least, and it's sort of an invisible threat. Real quickly, what are we talking about here?
Well, if you've ever seen Better Call Saul, have you ever seen that series Better Call Saul?
I have indeed. My wife love it. Love the guy plays it.
And his brother he was kind of allergic to power, things that power cells that were in the air. That's what this is. You want to reduce radiation in your life. You don't want to hold any cell phone up close to your ear. You don't want to get too close. You don't want to live under high power lines. You want to get as far away from things like that. You don't want to be too close to your Wi-Fi, the thing that produces the uh, frequencies that go through the air that makes your TV and your cell phone work. You want to get away from those. I wouldn't take it quite as far as Saul Saul's brother did and wrap tinfoil around you. Although I guess you could do that, but that's a really interesting series that you might want to watch and enjoy. But it helps me think about these things.
Well, Dennis, that is going to wrap it up here. I mean, it's a great, empowering list of things and roadmap for people to follow. And if they missed anything because they weren't able to take everything down, go to bodyofhealth.life and also dennisjhenson.com. It's your basically permanent roadmap and the easiest way to locate every supplement that has been mentioned today and on previous programs. And Dennis, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me. If you do go to the website, you decide to purchase something, if you'll use the code radio, you'll get a nice discount. And I really appreciate you coming in. And I hope to see you next week, where we're going to be talking about the best of everything has to do with health.
Absolutely. The best of everything. I'll be there. I'll be there. I hope you folks will be also for the Body of Health continuing series this year with Dennis J. Henson and yours truly, Reverend Dr. D. And until our next broadcast, podcast, video cast, love Talal. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. Smokey, I will see you on the other side. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.